Hey guys, are you letting your old looking leather shoes, bags, and jackets stay tucked away in your closet? Let's bring them out, care for them properly, and enjoy them like new. Not sure how? Caring for leather doesn't have to be confusing, frustrating, or time extensive, and that's why I'm excited to share what I call the 3 C's: cleanliness, condition, and conservation. Most people don't realize that once you address these simple areas, you can bring your leather back to life and looking its best. Let's get to it. In order to set up our leather for success, we're going to brush off any dirt, dust, or debris so that we don't scratch our leather as we clean it, similar to a waterless car wash. Now that we've thoroughly brushed off our leather, let's get to some deep cleaning. I'll be using a small amount of water with some specially formulated leather cleaner. And if you didn't know, the difference between using all-purpose cleaners and specially formulated leather cleaners is that the leather cleaners include natural oils to hydrate the leather as well as a specific pH balance to prolong the life of your leather and prevent cracking. Whereas other soaps, though they may look good at first, will damage your leather over time by drying them out. And as I'm brushing the leather with my horsehair dauber brush, I'm being really careful not to soak the leather. I'm not saying never get it wet, but I am saying you don't want the water to begin to decompose the leather, especially because it's an organic material. If it's not properly dried, it could potentially begin to mold and break down. The solution? Simply wipe off the excess moisture with a microfiber cloth after you clean each portion. Another important tip is that when you're doing a clean like this, you want to make sure you don't leave any portions unscrubbed. The reason for that is because if you only do a spot or a portion of the leather, you may create a watermark or discoloration, so make sure to be thorough. And as I noted earlier, if the leather seems to be coming out blotchy when you're cleaning it, it's not getting ruined, don't worry. It's just that if it's a natural full grain leather, some areas may absorb more liquid than others due to how thick or fibrous that area is. If dried properly, it will restore back to normal, as you'll see in just a second. Guys, don't forget about cleaning the strap. Because it's picked up by your hands and set on your shoulders, it comes into contact with the most dirt, sweat, and oils. So cleaning this portion is vital. Now let's be honest, we've all had that one belt, maybe our favorite belt, that after bending and flexing it every time we put it on, it's become cracked and torn. However, we can completely prevent this by keeping it clean and hydrated properly. The key point to remember here is that just like your own skin, leather doesn't like to be dry. Step number 2, our second investment, is that we want to understand the concept that leather is the hide of a cow. It's like your skin, but because it's no longer alive, it does not create oils on its own. It's vitally important for us to condition it so that it will remain flexible, supple, and prevent cracking. I'd say that one of the biggest reasons why people give away or throw away their leather is because they never even knew that it needed to be conditioned. And unfortunately, by that time, it's often irreparable. That is, you can't easily fix destroyed and dried out leather. It just won't be the same. What about you guys? Drop a comment below if you knew that you needed to condition your leather, and if so, which conditioner do you use? Today, I'll be using one of my favorite leather creams by ShoeMGK. I'll be using an applicator sponge to ensure that I evenly disperse the cream throughout the leather, and in particular, I just want to make sure that I don't use too much all at once because any cream or conditioner that has waxes or oils will innately darken your leather, so I don't want to use too much all at once. You can always add more, but you can't always take back. Also note that there are other great leather conditioners out there that hydrate your leather without darkening them. One I'd highly suggest is by Bickmore. I'll leave it in the description as well as anything else you might need. If you face any more stubborn surface scuffs like the one on the top portion here, it may need a little bit more cream. If that doesn't work, try massaging the cream into the leather for a bit. If that still doesn't work, stick around with me because I'll be sharing one of my favorite but controversial hacks coming up. Feel free to snip off any loose threads as long as they're not coming undone. You'll want to tie those back down as best as possible. Also, don't forget to hydrate the strap, which is probably the leather that gets the most wear and tear. It may need more frequent care than any other part of your bag. One of our last but most important steps is conserving your leather. Being a good steward of your leather can be the deciding factor between whether you keep a pair of shoes or a leather bag for 2 years or 20 years. And as Albert Einstein once said, intellectuals solve problems, geniuses prevent them. When it comes to storing your leather, you never want it to be bent, misshapen, or folded. So whenever you're not using your leather, simply take some plastic bags or newspaper and fill out your leather to preserve its shape. My next step has been somewhat controversial because a lot of people ruin their leather with heat, and as a general rule of thumb, you should keep your leather away from heat as much as possible in order to avoid shrinking and excessive dryness. However, I just wet the bag as well as applied a lot of cream, so the leather is really supple and nowhere near dry to the point of cracking. But the main reason why I'm warming up the bag is to gently warm up the waxes and oils in the cream so that it deeply penetrates the fibers of the leather. This will more deeply hydrate the leather as well as protect the leather by filling in the pores, providing a shield for dust and even liquid. Last but not least, we want to invest in regularly brushing our leather in order to evenly disperse the oils on the surface. On top of that, brushing your leather on a regular basis can prolong your leather for years to come. If there's one thing that you leave with today, remember that what you value is what you invest in. And on top of that, the biggest investments that pay you in the future are the small sacrifices of time and effort you make today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope I've been able to equip you with the skills and tools you need for your project. Make sure to check out the links for those below. If I've earned your viewership, please consider subscribing, smash that like button, and share this video with someone that you know. Until next time, remember to love your leather.